But somehow, for some reason, people kept bringing up Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his marriage to Aisha. Peace and blessings be upon her.
And that's a serious, and there's a reason why we bring that up, right? There's a reason, but let's see how she attempts to justify Muhammad's marriage to Aisha.
I don't know where exactly they saw this in the post that they thought, I have to bring this up. But since y'all wanted to bring it up, I'm going to talk about it. All right. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So first of all, to start off, I think that the Prophet's marriage with Aisha is probably one of the subjects that's mostly talked about by non-Muslims or mainly Islamophobes, right?
Well, it has nothing to do with being an Islamophobe. Nobody's just scared or fears Islam, right? Nobody's scared of it. Nobody has a phobia towards Islam. And the reason that is talked about, because other worldviews understand that when a 53-year-old man marries a 6-year-old girl, it's something wrong with that man. He's a pervert. He's a disgusting individual. So to even have any kind of level of attraction to a 6-year-old as a 53-year-old is the pure, unadulterated definition of pedophilia. And so because that is the understanding of pedophilia, the man or woman in their right mind is going to question such disgusting behavior. So that's why it's brought up. And it has zero to do with anyone being an Islamophobe. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's afraid of Islam. Not even slightly.
So, people always ask, well, why did your Prophet marry somebody of such a young age? Okay. How old would you have liked her to be?
Well, at least age of marriage, age of the ability to reproduce, the ability to have be equally yoked with the man that she's marrying. A 6-year-old is not equally yoked with the man with a 50-year-old. A 6-year-old is not equally yoked with a 50-year-old. Mentally, spiritually, none of that. That's one, right? And then another aspect of that is the ability to be sexually active. A 6-year-old is not able to be sexually active. So the very fact that you're asking us, what do we desire her age to be? Well, one is the ability to be able to bear children. Not saying that is the only criteria, obviously, but the another criteria would be that woman has to be a mature woman, not only physically but also mentally and spiritually, right? And so a 6-year-old is nowhere near that. So the very fact that a 53-year-old man finds, which Muhammad's age was when he married Aisha, was 53, the very fact that he sees a 6-year-old having that capability is absolutely crazy disgusting. And if the sources are right, it says that he consummated the marriage with her when she turned 8. Talk about the level of just disgusting behavior. Absolutely disgusting.
What, 18? Because that's the age here. Do we know what the term ethnocentrism is? So, think about what age you would like Aisha to be, or you would have liked Aisha to be. Are we going to say 18? Sure. Let's go with 18. All right. Well, ethnocentrism is judging another culture solely by the values and standards of one's own culture. And we are all guilty of this. So, like, for example, I am Dominican, and if you look it up, listen, Dominicans have been in an ongoing battle with Puerto Ricans saying we're better than you, or they say we're better than you. Dominicans are better. But you see this in so many different cultures. This place thinks that they're better than this place. This place thinks that they're better than this place. America thinks they're better than everyone, right? All right. So because of ethnocentrism, people question other cultures based on their own standards.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, there's a reason why multiple cultural backgrounds are questioning Muhammad's efforts of what Muhammad did, right? It has nothing to do with ethnocentrism. Not saying that doesn't happen in many areas, right? People do tend to judge situations based on their rose-colored glasses, right? They're viewing from their own cultural context, and that's fine. And that happens, and I understand that. So that's not saying that it doesn't happen. But when we see a 53-year-old man marry a 6-year-old girl, that the glasses are taken off. It doesn't matter what culture you come from, because you're viewing it from the fact that this 53-year-old man is marrying a 6-year-old girl. And it's absolutely disgusting that he would even he would even fix himself to be able to want to do that, right? And it's just appalling. It's appalling. And what amazes me is that these individuals who are Muslims are so fixated on their worldview that they're not willing to call a spade a spade. In any other situation, they would call a spade a spade. They would call a pedophile a pedophile. Any man that tries to attempt to engage with a child in that kind of fashion will be considered a pedophile. And so it's just mind-blowing and mind-boggling that these Muslim individuals are not willing to call a spade a spade. It will undermine their worldview too much. And so they attempt, like this woman is doing right here, they attempt to try to make excuses or justify the disgusting behavior. And we know that just simply isn't right. So it has nothing to do with ethnocentrism. Nobody's coming at this and just solely judging things on our own standards of our culture that we're in. We're looking at the situation without glasses. We're looking at the situation like, this is not right. And if 18's the age, 18's the age. But the thing is that there are states in the United States right now that says that 16 is a reason to marry. 16 years old. So in that capacity, we would like to see a 16-year-old marry a 16-year-old, right? They have to be spiritually yoked. They have to be equally yoked. They have to be mature. The maturity level has to be on the same standard, right? And physically, they have to be on the same standard. So we understand, like, especially within biblical cultures, there are biblical cultures. I think Joseph and Mary were set up to be married when they were like 16, 13, 16, 14 years old, right? They were extremely young when they were set up to be married. But the thing is that they both were around the same age, give or take 1 or 2 years, right? They were within the same age bracket. It wasn't some 53-year-old attempting to marry a 6-year-old, which is clearly disgusting, which is clearly horrifying. And once again, we have this individual attempting to justify the behavior of her so-called prophet. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Why do you think that your standards are better? Why do you think that your standards are better than other cultures? Why do you think your standards are better than other times, like other eras?
Well, it's not a matter of us thinking that our ways are better. It's a matter of just using common sense to say, well, a 53-year-old sleeping with a 6-year-old, or in this case, sleeping with an 8-year-old, is absolutely disgusting. That's common sense. It's not about us thinking our culture is better or anything like that. As a side note, I get a hint from her that she is some sort of woke individual. She seems to be one of those individuals who are very woke, who probably is with the left wing, the radical left, to say. So I could tell by the way she's saying things that you think America's better than everybody. Like, that's some stuff that woke, left-leaning individuals would say. And so she's a Muslim, and I guarantee you she's probably liberal. She's probably a liberal Muslim, right? And so, which is, once again, not surprising that she would defend this behavior, because we do see the left, the radical left, defending such behavior, right? They're this level of almost like justifying this behavior. So just saying, it sounds like she has a little woke twinge in her, left-leaning liberal twinge in her.
So I want us to think of the question, why don't Muslims eat pork, right? And you guys are going to be like, oh, she's going off topic. She's not even answering the question. This is all going to tie into it, okay? Why don't Muslims eat pork? This is like a question that I get asked a lot. But here's the thing. Imagine that you were surrounded by people who didn't eat pork. Would you still ask this question? Have you ever asked yourself, why don't Muslims eat dogs? No one around you eats dogs, so why would you be curious about that? And what I'm trying to say with this is, when a nation is strong and established, the weaker nation looks up to this nation's ways, or they look up to what their values are. So because we are surrounded by a culture that eats pork, we immediately ask, well, why don't they eat pork? Everybody else eats pork. Why don't they eat pork? But if you didn't eat pork, if nobody around you ate pork, you wouldn't be asking that question. And this all ties back to the age of Aisha. So I want us to really quick think about.
And she think that she made such a strong point with the whole eating pork thing. Once again, this is not about a culture. This is not a cultural issue here. This is not a cultural issue. This is an issue where this individual has said that his God has said to marry this little girl. And what it does, it undercuts the Islamic worldview hard, because Muhammad is the standard, right? Muhammad is their standard that they live by. So if their prophet, their quote unquote prophet, is doing things that are horrific and disgusting and nonsensical, then it undercuts the whole worldview. So this is not an issue with a culture, one culture eating pork and another culture not eating pork, or one culture eating pork and another culture eating dog. This has zero to do with that. This has to do with common sense. Common sense says that it's not right because a 6-year-old is not physically mature. She's not mentally mature. She's not spiritually mature to be able to deal in that kind of relationship with a 53-year-old man. How hard is that to understand? It can't be that hard to understand. You have to do mental gymnastics and be acrobatic in your head, mental gymnastics to suggest that this is okay and try to justify it. This shows the numbness of the Islamic worldview. The numbness of Islamic worldview is absolutely disgusting.
The Western mentality or the Western ideal. Like, when is the appropriate age to get married? So here in the West, it's 18 is the best age to marry yourself off.
And nobody said that. Nobody said 18 is the best age to marry yourself off. And the reason that we don't say that, because a lot of times, especially in the culture that we live in today, where everything is super expensive, everything is hyper expensive, right? 18 is probably not a good age to get married. You know, now if God was to call someone to marriage and say, marry this person at age 18, two people of the same age, same mental maturity, physical maturity, mental maturity, spiritual maturity, and within the same age bracket, if they were to say, yeah, we're going to get married at the age of 18, so be it. Because I know plenty of people within the Christian community, people I know personally, who have been married, that were married at 18, right? I know people who where the husband was 18 and the wife, they got married and she was 16. The point is that if there's an age gap, sure, that's fine. But the age gap should not be the extreme of a 6-year-old to a 53-year-old, right? My wife was older than me by a couple years. So age gap is not really the big problem. It's the level of age gap that's the problem. That's the big issue right there, right? And a 6-year-old, once again, is not mature enough mentally, physically, anything of that nature to be in something like that. And it takes a really disgusting, hard-hearted individual to do something like that. And it takes more of a disgusting individual to sit here and try to justify it as well. A perverted individual to try to attempt to justify such behavior. It's absolutely horrific, right? Absolutely horrific. Absolutely.
Keyword, to marry yourself off. So the age 18 was only recently decided as the appropriate age to marry yourself off, right? Now, this is not based on any science or any studies. 18 is also the age where you can marry yourself off. But there are places, even here in the United States, where your parents can marry you off even at the age of 15. People also used to get married by the age of 12. 18, again, was only recently decided as the best age for marriage. And I'm going to point something out. Just because you think this number is so proper or so correct, it does not give you the right to go back 1,400 years to question a completely different era, a completely different society, culture, in a whole different part of the world based on what? Your norms?
And once again, it doesn't matter what time it happened. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Once again, this is a 53-year-old who is attempting to marry and actually did marry and consummate that marriage when she was 8 years old. In no culture of no time is that appropriate. Now, did people do it? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. But the question is why is that inappropriate? Why is that not the right thing to do? And I've already pointed out a couple of reasons, and I'm sure other people can point out many other reasons why as well. An 8-year-old or 6-year-old is not mentally, physically, spiritually mature to be doing any of that or associating herself with any of that. If a 53-year-old man attempts to do something of that nature, then that 53-year-old man is a pedophile by definition. By definition. And so we have to put things in the correct category. We have to put things in the right place of understanding. Okay? So it's not this idea where we're just coming up with numbers, we're just coming up with age groups, or we're just coming up with things in order to try to justify our personal cultural beliefs. No. This is common sense, and it doesn't matter which era it came from. It's wrong. Absolutely disgusting to do that. Absolutely disgusting. So that's why the Christian has an issue with it, and that's why a majority of individuals have an issue with this idea of Muhammad being 53 years old and marrying a 6-year-old and consummating that marriage at the age of 8. This is why we have a huge problem, and this is why we are disgusted by even the thought of that. And so this is one of many reasons why people should just absolutely categorically reject the position that is Islam.
Would you marry a 6-7-year-old child?
I would marry a 9-year-old.
Would you marry a 6-7-year-old child? Would you have sex with a 9-year-old child?
9-year-old, I would
Would you have sex with a 9-year-old child?
Yes, of course.
That's a pedophile.
She was 6 when she got married. It does matter. Do you agree with child marriages?
Yeah, but you're...
Do you agree with child marriages?
You are...
Do you agree with child marriages?
You're being too emotional.
I'm asking you.
You're taking back
I'm asking you a question.
pretending-
Do you agree with child marriages?
Yes, yes.
Do you agree with
I'm
child
not going to
marriages?
deny it. I'm not going to deny it.
Do you agree with child marriages?
Yes!
Right. That is the problem. The Muhammad's example has led you to the conclusion. Muhammad's example has led you to the conclusion that child marriages are okay. That's a problem.
Well, he's doing what Muhammad done, teaching what Muhammad done.
That's all right. Be proud of it. Be proud of it.
You are proud of that you are profited sex with a child.
Of course, yes.
You are proud that you're profited sex with a child. Watch those faces. Those faces are living in Britain now. Keep your children away.
No, I don't know. Just
Brother, it's fine. Brother, it's fine.
Wait.
Brother, it's fine. Brother, it's fine.
Space, yeah?
Brother, it's fine. Brother, it's fine.
Space, buddy,
It's
yeah?
fine.
Bit of space.
It's fine.
Be proud of everything. From Muslim.
You're proud of Mohammed having sex with a 9-year-old girl, yes?
We're proud.
Would you have sex with a 9-year-old girl? No? Why not? Why not? Why not?
How old are you, Charlotte?
You will have sex with a child.
You'd have sex with a 9-year-old girl, yes? Yeah?
It's no sex, he's
Have
married.
you told the police
Okay.
that you'd have sex with a 9-year-old girl?
No. No.
No, why not? Why don't you go and tell them? Go and tell the police. Go and tell the British police.
How can you
think
proud
it's
of
okay
having
to have
sex with a
9-year-old
child?